to kick things off, we play this large sweep. So I'm going to play this section for you. Just remember that timing wise, it's very free. The licks you kind of lumber in and sort of gurgle away. It's not a very strict, you know, regimented time, this phrase. So I'll play it for you and then we'll take a look. Here we go. Okay, we start off, it's a B minor, like a B minor 9 arpeggio, and we're starting off sliding 5 up to 7. So we go 5, 7, and then hammer 10 on the E. And then play 9 on the D, 7 on the, 9 in the A, 7 on the D. And then slide up to 9 on the D, hammer 10, up to 12 on the D. And then 11 on the G, 10 on the B. And then that's 9 and 12 on the top E. So you get... You can hear it kind of, that's the kind of feel. And then we slide up to 17 on the top E. And we're going to, it's a minor 7th arpeggio here. So pull off 17, 14 on the E, 15 on the B, 16, 14, 16 on the G, 15 on the B, 17 on the top E, and then bend that 17. We kind of drop that down a bit. We just come down an A minor pentatonic, so that's 17, 15, 17, 15, 17, 14, 17, 14, 17, 14. So we land on, 17, 15. We land on 17, 15 on the, or 15 on the A. And we slide up to 17 and then down to 12, so you get this. And then I just hit the low E and dive it down, just like blue powder. Okay, let's now take a look at our next lick. So we're now playing over the E minor chord. For that first part, that first section, we were literally playing over the B minor 11 to a C major 13. And then this B7 with a sharp 9 and a sharp 5. And then we're into an E minor 11 chord. So we're on the E minor 11th chord now. So let's take a look at that lick. 3, 4. Okay, for that lick, we're bending 15 up a whole tone on the top E. Back down. And then we play 14 and then hammer 14 up to 15, and then we're playing the 12th fret at the top E. And then we have this really cool lick that was from the middle section, where it's based on a lick that's in Die to Live. I've always liked this lick. It's quite straightforward to play, but it's just a really effective little descending run. So we start off, we're sliding from 15 down to 14, pull off to 12, 14 on the G, and then 14 on the top E. And then we're sliding 12 down to 9 on the G, 12 on the D, and 12 on the B. So okay, so after that 12 on the B, we're sliding 11 down to 9 on the D. and then 10 on the A string. So you put it together. Okay, now we're up to the C major 9, which is played, the rhythm guitar is playing harmonics. It's basically like a 8 on the bottom E and 10 on the A, and then with your little finger I'm just playing 12th fret across the 12th fret of the D, G and the B string. So, and that's the rhythm guitar on the backing track, but I think it's quite an interesting little chord idea. And then we do the same thing there, sliding from 10 down to 8, and then on the bottom E, and then playing 5 on the D, G and B. The next section then, as I said, those sisters chords, I've chosen that to be Lydian as well, C Lydian. And we have this little run. I'll play it through for you first of all. Okay, so that lick, it's kind of stereotypical sort of Steve Vai, playing across the neck in fifths. We're starting off on the C note, 8th fret, bottom E. Then we move up a whole tone on the A string to the 10th. And then 3rd finger on the 12th fret of the D. So, and then we're on to the 14th fret, not the 13th fret, as I played there to start. And that's the 14th fret of the G, and the 15th fret of the B, and then the 17th fret of the top E. So and when I get onto that 17th fret of the top E, I kind of there's a lot of sort of slurring going on with the whammy bar, so I'm up on the 17th fret of the top E. So I just sort of dip the bar down and pull off to the 12th fret of the E string. Kind of an unusual combination of notes, but that F sharp against that C. Really, that's the sharp 4, so you're really outlining your Lydian there. So we pull off there 14 to 11, and then 12 on the G. Okay, now we're on to the next chord, which is the chord of G. On the backing track, I'm using this voicing, or G major 7th. I use that C voicing because then we have an F sharp augmented after that, so it's kind of, it's nice to keep some shared tones in it, so keeping that nice movement on the A and the D string, so the chord movement's nice and close. So for that chord, I chose Lydian again, and I borrowed a lick, which is one of my favourite little sweep picking licks. It's not too hard. It's with anything that Steve Vai kind of uses a lot of the neck, and it's a figure from Ladies' Night and Buffalo from Eat 'Em and Smile, the first David Lee Roth album that Steve Vai played on, which is spectacularly good. And I'll play the lick for you first of all, and then we'll break it down. So we're barring across with our first finger at the 19th fret, second finger on the B string at the 20th, and little finger poking in there on the 22nd fret. So that's why this guitar is cool for this job. It's got lots of access up there. And I'm literally raking. And then I slide with my little finger from 22 down to 17. So, and then we're doing the same shape from the 14, 14, 15, 17. And then I slide down to 14 on the top E. And then I do the same shape again, 11, 11, 12, 14, down to 10. And then we do the same shape again, which is 7, 7, 8, 10. And then we slide down to the 7th fret. Okay, so one more time, let's just play that lick nice and slowly. So it's... So over the F sharp augmented chord, I've chosen to use the third mode of the melodic minor, which is a Lydian scale with a raised fifth. So you get... It's kind of an unusual, quite an unusual sound, because obviously we're used to normally... But now we have... And you can hear the augmented. The augmented triad is a really highly featured triad when using the melodic minor. Obviously, the melodic minor is not something that I profess to knowing a great deal about. But when I used to teach years ago at one of the music academies, it was a bit of a shock to the system to be given this big course book where you had to teach and know all of this stuff. And so I sort of took a bit of a crash course in it, and one of the best pieces of advice I got from one of the other tutors was, instead of playing it very linear as you would with other scales, think of it a lot more arpeggiated, and the characteristic of the scale could really be heard within that augmented triad. For it's there. So it was always a good piece of advice. So I've sort of put that into play a little bit here, and also chosen to use a lick similar to one that's heard in Die to Live as well. So I'll just play the phrase for you now. So we're coming into this augmented triad, and then we're sliding up to the next augmented triad. Basically, with augmented triads, you can move them in major thirds, and it's a bit like the diminished triad, where you move the diminished triad in minor thirds, and you just use the same shape. You do the same thing with the augmented triad in major thirds. So we have... So the first augmented triad is, that's 11 on the G, 11 on the B, 10 on the top E, and 14 on the top E. A bit more whammy bar action there, and then we slide up to the 18th fret, pull off to 14, then 15 on the B, 15 on the G, 14 on the top E, and then 18 on the top E, and then we're bending 15 up to 17, which is again quite an unusual note to be playing over the final chord, but it just... I like that kind of tone when you're using unusual intervals and more interesting intervals than just, you know, the regular kind of safer thirds and fifths and roots. So that's it. That concludes our solo, and there's quite a lot going on there. Obviously, before we get a barrage of comments of "that's not very Steve Vai," well, it's not, because it's me and I'm not Steve Vai, and so I'm just trying to hopefully give you a little bit of an insight into some of the writing tools that he used, especially in that period, the Passion and Warfare period, and, you know, try and recreate some of it. He's such a unique guitar player. you know, even down to the way he has that circular motion with his vibrato. You know, he's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? The way he performs, you know, he becomes part of the guitar. You know, the way he moves when he plays, and it's all goes to creating his sound. And so he's quite a difficult player to impersonate. And you know, I'm a lot more about trying to take little pieces from players and build your own personality on that. You know, you can hear elements of Jimi Hendrix, and you can hear elements of Frank Zappa, and elements of Alan Holdsworth in Steve Vai's playing, and Van Halen as well to a degree. So there's a lot of he's chosen, and then he puts all of that into the big Steve Vai cooking pot, and out comes this very unique, charismatic musician who you know, has a lot more going on than just a bunch of fast tapping licks and whammy bar tricks. So I'm hoping that you'll see past, you know, that element of it, and maybe grasp what I've tried to achieve with this lesson, which was there's a lot of different unusual chords going on in the backing track. You know, you could just jam along with that and do your own thing, and it's going to push you harmonically in terms of your scale choice. But like I said, I'm trying to do a tribute to Steve Vai, and by no means am I saying that this is Steve Vai, this is how he plays, this is what he does. This is just my personal interpretation, or what I take from Steve Vai when I listen to him, and how I approach, you know, if I want to put some Vai-ism or the little things. A lot of these licks that I've played are actual things that I find in my own guitar playing that automatically have come from listening to those records. So I hope that my little spiel there at the end makes some kind of sense to you, and I hope you enjoy this lesson. It's been a real lot of fun for me to put it together and go back and listen to those tracks. And like I said, I went to the concert as well, so it's been it's kind of nice, kind of full circle thing to, you know, to sort of be at this point to celebrate 25 years of such an influential and important album in the guitar world. Anyway, that's it from me, and I will look forward to seeing you hopefully very soon here at Guitar Interactive Magazine. Bye for now.